Hey, what it do? What it do? What it do? Hey, what it do? What it do? What it do? Hey, it's your boy Demarcus, man, back with the life of a multifacet, and I believe this might be episode 16. Listen, I keep getting the episode numbers mixed up. In one episode, I said it was 14, and then it ended up being 15 to 13. I'm all over the place, but I believe this is episode 16. And for y'all that have been tuning in, for y'all that are catching up, for y'all that are with me along the journey as I'm just getting well versed into a new space, being able to express my multifacets and just being able to share overall about my life and just who I am as an individual and what makes me, man, I appreciate y'all. And thank y'all for being able to tune in and continue just to ride the wave with me. When it comes to mic settings, when it comes to platforms and everything, like this is something that I love to keep learning about, and I love to put myself in the space, especially with tech stuff, just to become well versed. And the biggest thing is, as I always say, it's just getting started. So the fact that I'm even on close to 16 episodes, I mean, it's wild to me to know that, hey, I took the time to record and I've got that many episodes out. And while I do say that it's wild, at the same time, like as far as the information and the things that I'm saying and the topics that I have, like that's not hard for me at all. Like I can keep on talking for forever, and I have so many different topics and things that I want to discuss. So when these type of moments come up, it gets exciting for me because I finally have the spaces where I can be able to talk about certain topics and express myself in ways that I may have not been able to before, or I give people the opportunity to get to know me more. It serves as an extension, based on people that may not know me as well. So they can come to a platform like this and hear my insights, hear my perspective. So again, shout out to y'all that are tuning in. Shout out to y'all that will hear this, days, months, years or whatever later. Hopefully this information can still be relevant, and hopefully it's something that can really give you a space to where you can feel heard and seen and feel loved. So my topic for today, I know I've talked about this a bit in the past, but I really want to hone in on having hobbies and keeping yourself active. A lot of times when we think about hobbies and just think about overall this concept, it seems pretty straightforward. It's something that can be just like cut and dry, and it's something that when you bring up the word hobby, it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. Like, yeah, I do this, I do that. That's all that it is. There's no really like in-depth conversations at times about hobbies and the true benefits of them, especially for any adult as you get older. The reason why it can sometimes be so foreign to us, why, is because when we're younger, that's all we were doing is focused on having different hobbies and being part of different activities that kept us active. And at times, you're in so many different environments where activities and things are being put together in order to help you to learn, help you to have fun, that you're not having to think so much outside of the box to figure out what exactly are all these things that will make you happy. What are these things that will make you feel active? A lot of times you're just in environments, and based on what your parents may feel is good for you, based on certain teachers that you have, how they structure their classrooms, and also too based on programs that you're around. Those things are going to be structured based on whoever that person is that came up with the ideas. And so when you're younger, you get the opportunity to try so many different things because a lot of hobbies, organizations, festivals, whatever it is, they're centered around a multi-dimensional approach, or like a multifaceted type of approach where there's so many different layers and there's so many different activities that are going on that you can be a part of. Think about times where you were a kid and they had like the little carnivals at school. They may have the little skills challenges where you're throwing the hooks around the pole, or you have a thing where you're doing cornhole, or you may be in gym class where you're doing y'all remember the little skateboards that you had, and seeing who could, like, you lay on your stomach and see who can use their hands to be able to get down to the finish line quicker. Or let's think about relay races. Like, you're seeing not only who's the fastest, but you're seeing who can hop on one leg, who can maybe use the pogo stick to get to the very end and back. Like, these are different ways in which you're able to test out who you are as an individual, but learn about your hobbies. You may have classes where you're trying to see who's the most artistic, who could come up with the best poetry. Like, there's so many classes in which we can be a part of when we're younger, and there's so many opportunities that get us in the mindset of figuring out what do we enjoy and what are things that we may love. Now, I will say when you're younger, it can be hard because depending on the types of hobbies or activities you're involved in, a lot of times those things may not be prioritized. So you may have a one-time pottery class that you do, so you're getting introduced as a kid to pottery, but after a certain period of time you're not continuing to do that. One, because there's not as much availability for pottery classes around you, and there's may just not be somebody that has the expertise. So if you have one time where you're doing it, you may be like, oh, this is super dope. Hey, I have that one time where I was able to create some pottery in elementary school, but that's not something in which I feel like parents or elders really prioritize. So it's going to be a bit harder to find ways to incorporate that into your lifestyle as an adult, unless you're in environments that has those same type of things, because it's not as common. Now, it's different for sports, because sports is something that's well versed, and sports is something too where it's easy of access to be able to get the equipment. So if I'm playing basketball, like, I can go to the store, and it don't matter what type of quality basketball it is, I can find a basketball, or I can even use any type of ball that resembles a basketball, and I can find a park, I can shoot hoops, I can dribble with it. It's easy of access to me versus trying to find, maybe a printer where I can do heat transfer vinyl and learn how to make my own t-shirts. So a lot of times whenever we're going through our childhood, we get access to a lot of different things, but there may not be activities in which we're able to continuously use these similar skills in ways where we can find it relative in our adulthood. So the biggest thing I feel like for adults, you have to put yourself in positions to explore different hobbies and activities. And I know, especially for the women and some of the guys as well too, to me, traveling, we got to take that out of the hobby category. I'm tired of people keep saying, my hobby's traveling. I love Yes, traveling is a great thing. It's a great way to be able to see different parts of the world, meet different types of people. It's a way that helps you to be able to open up your scope to just the different ways in which life can move. But in my opinion, that's not a hobby. The reason being is because for traveling, it's something where you got to have money to be able to do. And if you don't have money, no matter what, you can go to a different location. But what's the point of going somewhere where you don't even have activities or things you can be a part of? Like, end of the day, you're going to grow. Anything that you do continuously, it's going to grow old unless you find different ways to make it sexy or make it dope. I can go to a beach every single day, but if I'm not maybe getting to the water, if I'm not maybe taking my journal and then writing that day that I go to the beach, if I'm not doing activities, excursions or however, like, you got to find different ways, because you're eventually going to get tired of it. And so when it comes to hobbies as adults, a lot of times people are focused on the things in which you have to spend money on, things in which you also have to have other people involved, or these ideas of activities that are always leading to something that may be like dating or relationship wise or job wise. Hobbies should be something to where you find fulfillment in your own peace, in your own space, and something that can get you thinking, and something that can get you in a creative zone to where you can think outside of the box. And again, initially, it may be something that costs you money, like a software, but it should be something to where it's able to help you to be creative. Like, if you're going to spend money on traveling, that's great and all, but you're spending there for a particular trip. You're looking for a certain type of experience based on the environment, based on the weather, based on airlines, people, or whatever. That experience could be adjusted, or that experience can go left or right depending on different circumstances that could be out of your control. But when it comes to different hobbies, as far as, like, let's say making beats, right? Like, once you get the software, it's all on you to figure out what are different techniques that I can use to make the type of beat and the type of sound that I want. Hey, okay, I want to learn more about guitars, violins. I want to learn how I can pre-record my own instruments. I want to learn how I can maybe get samples from something like Splice or I think it's a TrackLib and all these other sites. Like, I want to figure out what types of instruments do I like to create the sounds that I want. Okay, do I like percussions? Do I like hi-hats? Am I a bass line person? Am I a person that loves melodies and choruses? Like, these are things that are going to take you time, but you don't necessarily have to have the money after you buy the software to learn that. Now there's going to be based on, okay, what's the type of sound that I like on a day-to-day basis? What gets me excited? Sometimes I may feel like, I want something kind of hard. I want something that's just rough. Then I may, be in my emotions one day, so I want something that's a little bit more peaceful. But then you've got to use the different instruments to craft the sound that goes based off how you're thinking. And so that brings out your creative nature, because the only thing that you can do is you can have an idea for a song that you want to replicate, for or beat that you want to replicate, for a type of sound you want to replicate. But no matter what, you're only going to be led by the instruments that are in front of you. So I can listen to a Mayer Hawthorne type of song where Jake One is making a dope beat. I can listen to a Rick Ross song where Be Billionaire and then Lex Luger then did some hard beats. But at the same time, I may hear a certain type of sound, but I may replicate a totally different type of beat. I may hear in my head a Mayer Hawthorne type of song, but the type of drums that I end up using end up turning into a Lex Luger style beat. I may start off with a Lex Luger type of beat, or may try to go for his type of drums, but I may find a dope type of sample that's going to give me more of a Alchemist or a Ninth Wonder type of sound. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, when it comes to hobbies, I challenge any of you to find things that are different. Find things that challenge you to put yourself in a different zone, that can maybe even play with your emotions. Find something that challenges you to be able to create something in a lens that makes sense for you. When it comes to making t-shirts, like getting familiar with the silhouette cameos or any of the other type of systems like the Crickets, right? You've got to first be able to go on a place like Canva or maybe Adobe, and you've got to first figure out, what type of saying do I want? What do I want this to replicate? What type of feeling am I getting for creating this? Then you got to figure out what type of text you want. Okay, is this text more masculine? Is it more feminine? Is it more kind of comic-y? Is it more aggressive? You got to figure that out. Then you got to figure out, okay, how is this going to be able to cut within the type of printer that I have? Based on that, then you got to figure out the sizes. You got to figure out the dimensions. And as you're doing that, you're also going to figure out, okay, what type of t-shirt do I want? What type of feel do I want? What type of, say, let's take customers out of it. What type of brand makes me feel the best? Is it something where when I'm out, I want it to kind of be more of like a dope t-shirt where it can just have a few uses, like when you're going to a cookout? Or do I want something where the quality, as far as the design, it can be cool, but I'm more so focused on using it multiple times, and I want it to be a dry fit type of thing when I'm out. But hey, every time I'm going to play basketball, or every time I'm doing some type of activity, I want people to notice it. So this is something similar where you're being creative, but you're finding ways in which it can reflect on you as an individual, and then that's what goes into the craft. Building Legos. Like, listen, I bought a Lego set. I have it sitting over here. It's been sitting here for months, and I need to actually take time to utilize it. I used to love doing Legos as a kid, and then it's something that I kind of fell off with, right? Well, I definitely fell off with. But it's something where I'm like, you know what? I need to spend more time, because one thing that I loved is, hey, it shows you on the front of the box how to be able to create whatever type of set that you have. But there's times I may have used other pieces to add this type of feel to the Lego set, and then it makes it look even more dope. There's a few times when I had some car sets, and I'm like, you know what? Based on this, I wanted to give it kind of like a weird looking hood for the car, as opposed to this flip hood that it has on the instructions. Like, this is how you think of ways outside of the box, and this is how you build your creativity. And then the more dope thing is that you realize all of these things come together. What one multifacet would do, we'll get to the next multifacet, we'll get to the next creative opportunity, we'll work with the next idea, we'll work with the next thing that you're writing in your journal, we'll work with the next idea that you're planning in your notebook. It all comes together. And so one muscle will help you to be able to be more open and more dope in another area. And so, like, whenever I'm cooking, right, I'm a person where I love to try different methods while I'm cooking, but something that cooking can show me as, hey, based on how I'm putting the camera this way, it may make the person on the other end feel emotionally different than if I'm using the camera straight versus up top. Or if I'm putting it from side to side, the way in which somebody's able to see the sauce, that may make them feel more inclined to want to watch the video more. Or the way in which I make a beat, right? This is something that the music and food does well for me. The way I can make a beat and the way that the sauce may drop and hit the chicken, that may drop at the same time that the beat drops. So now, not only does a person watching the video have an experience of food, but they're actually able to have an experience of the music as well. So there may be times somebody's not really vibing with the food, but the music's hitting so much that now they're focused on the music experience. There might be a time where the music's cool, it's decent, but the food is so dope that the sound that's not as good actually complements the food so well that now the person feels as if the beat is hella dope just because of the way in which they're able to see the illusion of how I'm able to cook the food. Like, that's how multifacets work. That's how hobbies get you into a realm of being able to see the world in a different way. And lastly, I'll say, especially for you all that have jobs and for you all that work in different type of elements, even if you're an entrepreneur, I think the biggest thing that you can do is have hobbies that have nothing to do directly with the line of work you do. The reason being is because I've heard from so many people, and I've experienced this as well, where you can be so ingrained into work that it's easy to get burnout because, one, a lot of people, what they're truly doing is not aligned in the type of work that they're doing. So you might be very interested in the same type of industry, but the way in which you want to run a business or however isn't going to be tied to what you're doing. Why? Because it's somebody else's idea. So really you're working to be able to survive and you're working to be able to learn, but nobody else's idea is going to be yours. And even if it's something that comes pretty close, you're not going to be able to move in the way you want to. Why? Because you're working for somebody else and you don't have your own thing going yet. Even when you have your own thing going, you want to be able to have hobbies. Why? Because you don't want to get so burnt out on trying to utilize this business to be able to fund everything, or trying to get through with this, that it's not fun anymore. And I haven't had a fully equipped business yet. I have had times with my multifacets where I've been able to make some money off of it. And I have been able to realize a bit early at times where I'm like, man, this can seem as if I'm doing it more for the content and things like that versus actually doing it for the love. And so what I have to do, take a step back, and then I got to incorporate other of my multifacets into the equation to make it feel if it's well versed. Why? Because the time where I may not feel like cooking as much, I can still go back to my computer and make beats. Hey, when I'm not really feeling like making beats, hey, I can go into Canva and then I can go and create a design for a t-shirt. Hey, if I don't feel like doing the designs for the t-shirt, I still may feel like going in and writing something in my phone, some type of poetry or something like that, that can keep my mind flowing in the music, but also something that's separate from me making beats. And I may say, F that completely, and you know what, I want to use my mind to kind of think more so from a gardening standpoint. Let me go and use my hydroponic garden and then figure out what types of herbs and things I could use for my foods if I was in the kitchen, and boom, look what I did there. I started off with food. I went all the way to music. Then I went to the Canva. Then I went to writing things on my phone. Then I went to Legos. Then I went to the hydroponic garden. And what I initially said is, hey, what if I was at a point to where I'm not really feeling like cooking, and then I may be eating out or whatever. But because I've been focused on the hydroponic garden now, hey, I might get some motivation or inspiration to say, you know what, this is what I needed. I can finally utilize these herbs and vegetables and things into my own food. Okay, so now I need to get back into the kitchen because I can't just let these herbs sit here. And because these herbs are fresh, now I can figure out how I want to incorporate them into my meal. So now I'm back to cooking. Okay. So then I may get tired of like, hey, I don't feel like doing these herbs right now, but now I'm in the cooking zone. But you know what? As I'm cooking, I got to figure out how to get back into my zone. Like, how am I bopping? So you know what? I ain't really in the zone to listen to music at the moment, but man, let me go cook up a beat. Let me see if I can go into my creative space, and then based on the sounds that I'm hearing, let me try to create a beat. So this is how your boy gets into the clouds. So this may not make sense to a lot of y'all, but some of y'all, I know you're going to get it, because when your mind is all over the place, when your mind runs, and your mind can in a sense, you can overstimulate, when you can how can I say this? When you're overthinking, when your mind's constantly running, these are ways in which you keep yourself active. Now, the biggest thing though is balance. So I'm someone that can be doing too many things at once. And so I've had to tell myself, hey, let me do it in spurts. So there's times where I'm like, okay, if I'm really in the zone, let me knock out like 3 or 4 beats in a day. And even if the beats aren't that good of quality, let me at least say I've been able to get it while it was hot, and then I can eventually come back to those. See, a lot of times we're so focused on having to get it complete and it's got to be the final product now. And I'm saying this to DeMarcus because I'm someone that can think like this and can be a perfectionist, but it ain't got to be like that. Because at the end of the day, you realize time's on your side. So who is this for? What is this for? Why are you doing this? Who said that it had to be fully complete tomorrow? Who gave you that deadline? This ain't your job. This ain't something to where you get money off of it or anything yet. This is just something for a hobby perspective. And then even if it was where you're getting money from your own craft, you'd be in control of doing that. So you get it done on your time. But at the end of the day, you ain't got no timeline for some of this stuff. So the biggest thing is chipping at it away each and every day. And I'm telling you, that's the only way I was able to even get into making beats. Like, I'm someone, like, for the longest, for some years, I make beats and I'm like, this ain't really hitting. I get off of it, make a beat, and then I wouldn't do it for another 6 months or another year or so. But over the pandemic, I had to push myself. Why? Because I didn't have anything else going on. You couldn't get outside because of COVID. So I'm like, okay, let me try to get ahead with this a little bit. Let me try to do as much as I can. Okay, you know what? We're going to come back to it another day. And what I realized is that each time that I came back to it, I would see something different than I saw before. And I was able to incorporate a new sound because I was able to hear the sound in a different way. Same thing when I'm cooking. There's going to be days into which I'm cooking food, but my energy may be off. So I'll go about something the same way, but the taste, the feel of the food is just not hitting the same. But you know what I'll do is, then I'll have those days where I'm really in the zone. And so I'm like, okay, let me try something different. Let me try to up-level this. Hey, even though I'm really feeling it, it turned out pretty decent. But now, since we're in that zone, let's tweak it how we want to. And so when you constantly put yourself in a space to be able to tweak things, be creative, and then let things kind of just move how they move, that's where you truly find the power in being a creative and a multifaceted, because there's no end goal. And it's the same thing with entrepreneurship, from what I've been told and things that I've learned. It's like, you can have all these ideas, you can have all these goals and everything, but how a path will go, what that process looks like, there's no destination for it. There's no onboarding type of strategy to say, hey, if you do this, this is your keys to success. You're betting on yourself, and you're betting on the process that you're going to continue to move forward and not give up, that you're eventually going to create something dope. That's what it's like to be creative and be a multifaceted. You're someone where it's like, you're not letting everybody else's noise and negativity get into play. You're not even letting people give you so much of their opinions on what they're thinking is good and what's not. It's different if you're going to someone asking them, hey, can you give me some feedback on this? Can you tell me what you think, what type of sound this is? But sometimes we have to be careful in watching how we ask for feedback, because people are going to typically give feedback based on what they think's best for you, because a lot of people don't have the emotional intelligence to be able to separate it. And people are going to base sounds or not, let me take sounds away. They're going to be able to base their feedback or critique on what they've seen in pop culture, what they've seen in regards to these gurus that are the experts or whatever. They're going to compare you to that and say that's the key to success. So yours isn't here yet, so you're not on that level. That's BS as well. Why? Because a lot of times we don't even realize that some of these quote unquote experts, they're utilizing other people to create their framework. They may even need a you to bring out the ideas that they're trying to find, but you know what? You're just not on the level where they can get it into reach of you. They don't know you. You can't get into reach of them. So at the end of the day, they've got to find somebody else to create that. So for me as a creative and a multifaceted, when I'm working with friends or talking to friends, I want them to create the thing that's dope for them in the best way possible, in the way in which they can see the dopeness. And if they ask me for feedback based on how I see it from a business perspective or how I see it reflecting their personality, I would get my feedback based on that. But if somebody sends me something, they're like, hey, DeMarcus, what you think about this? If it sounds trash, I'm gonna let you know it's trash. But if it's sounding good, or if it's something that's looking clean, if it's something that I feel is good quality or whatever, I'm gonna let you know that. But I'm also gonna give you a more positive type of feedback, being like, hey, you know what? This is pretty cool. I can see some tweaks. I can see how you can work on this, but you're on the right track. And I love doing that more than just trying to overly critique people. Why? Because as creatives, a lot of times we have the sauce and we have the visions, while other people are so focused on trying to be perfect or trying to follow these gurus or celebrities, and we may have the sauce that they are looking for. So I wanted to create a short video on that, just telling you, if you're someone that is struggling with finding hobbies, try to think outside of the box. Push yourself to maybe do something that is not normal. Go to Eventbrite. Go to when I say not normal, something that you may typically not do. Go to Eventbrite. Look up things on ChatGPT or other AI tools. Like, research what are 10 or 15 uncommon hobbies that could actually be dope hobbies for men and women that people don't take the time to actually work on. Challenge yourself each week to look at some new news or something that has to do with a hobby. Last week, I started teaching myself how to juggle. I'm like, you know what? It's something I've been wanting to do forever. Let me just take 10, 20 minutes out of my day and practice on it when I can. That's a different multifaceted. And what does that do over time? If I'm learning how to juggle and how to be able to make 3 balls float in the air at the same time, that's also going to help me to learn how to focus better. Why? Because in order to make that happen, I've got to be keened in and focused on what I'm doing at the moment. So the only thing that's going to do is help me to be more focused in other areas. Hey, if I'm focused on a project, I got to be locked in the same way. So I know I said a lot there. I know I can talk fast. I can be moving, but I hope that gave some of you all depth into saying, hey, let me try something today. Let me get excited about something new. Let me open up myself to say, you know what? There's something else about me. I'm not just tied to this one thing that I do, this one job that I have. I'm not tied to this one scope and the way people see me. There's more about me, and I'm going to prove to myself that there is more, and I'm not going to let other people determine that, or I'm not going to let other people push me away from trying things that I want to do. Like, when you become dope and when you become a visionary and actionary as well, you're going to spark a lot of people's interest, because they're going to wonder how you're doing it and they're not. And the simple thing is just trying and giving it a shot. It might not work out. It might not be what you want. But the thing is, you're eventually going to create something dope because it's for you. It's not for the gain of anybody else. It's something that whenever the world may stop, or whenever things in the world may stop, whenever days may be tough, or whenever you just may feel out of sync, it's something, or it's a place that you can go to where it can challenge you and it can put you into a different type of mode than just doing something that somebody else is telling you to do all day. So it's your boy DeMarcus. This is talking about hobbies and how to be able to find and explore into different hobbies. I'll do some more videos on this later on, or some more content later on, just explaining about hobbies that I've gotten to more in depth. And then also too, just ways in which I had to find hobbies, especially as an only child and as someone that was multifaceted early on, but more so ways in which I was able to push myself to try different things out, even when people or situations kind of steer me away from it. So it's your boy DeMarcus. This is another episode, a little bit shorter, but hopefully y'all got some key pointers out of this. Hopefully y'all got some good takeaways as well too. Peace.